Problems seldom walk up to your front door and tell you exactly how to solve them in design. For instance, you very seldom get, let's make a logo, let's make a website, let's make a brochure, and we got it. We fixed it, and the problem solved. Everybody's going to change their behavior or buy this thing or whatever you're trying to get. A lot of times it means designers have to go find what the problem is or dig really, really deep into it to learn all its parts. So this semester I'm teaching a course where empathy is our core topic for the semester. It means that we're learning about empathy and how empathizing with others can help us to be better designers. But then also, when you talk about empathy problems get a lot more complicated. So here's the challenge. When you've got a problem in an empathy world that's really fuzzy, how do you learn about the problem so you know what to make to be able to address the issue? So I want to give you an example here that could help with figuring out some of that process. For instance, let's talk about the problem of public transportation. This is an example of one of those wicked problems where people don't always see eye to eye. Public transportation has lots of parts to it. We have our stakeholders that are people who use public transportation, and they come in very different sizes, and they have different needs for mobility. Also, we have municipalities that have to provide that transportation. Those municipalities, they're big buildings, or maybe they are in other government buildings like this. They have to collect tax dollars and provide the transportation that everybody needs. With so many complicated shapes and sizes and needs of people, and so many pressures and challenges that are on municipalities, obviously there's a lot of opportunity here for not seeing eye to eye. Of course, there's always that issue that you have to pay for public transportation too. You have to decide what kind of public transportation to give or to make or provide, who to provide it for, and how to pay for it. So there's a lot of factors here. So how do we start in that process of what to make? What designers can do is base this on evidence. Go find out. Go research by learning from people when they use public transportation of what they need. So it means we could go watch stakeholders use buses or use cabs or ride bikes. And we could find out what time of day they use that transportation. We could find out maybe they need to go grocery shopping and they're getting their groceries and this is what they're taking public transportation for. Maybe they're going to school and they're taking their books and all that stuff, and maybe they're taking a baseball and everything they've got when they go to school that they have to get to school and take back. Maybe they're doing extracurricular activities. They're bringing a wheelchair along, or maybe they're bringing a bike along. There's lots of complexity with this one of different types of mobility when we're talking about public transportation and different uses. As far as money, how does it get funded? Are there advertisers on the buses? Do we have organizations like companies, or do we just have people who are willing to give money away to these entities to be able to pay for public transportation for everyone? What about those municipalities? Where are they offering transportation? Are they doing bus transportation that is being used by a lot of people? Maybe there's some areas where those buses don't go. Maybe there are places where they go a whole lot, where that route is really complicated. Maybe there's subways or other means by which people can get around. So when you start doing observations, you start learning all the different ways people use public transportation, the times they use it, and how they use it, and what they need it for, how it's paid for, advertising on buses, donations, or what kinds of transportation is being offered. This is where you start to see where design can come along. Is it information? Can we assume that municipalities don't quite know all the stuff that people are doing? It means our target is to municipalities, to tell them or to communicate to them, this is what we need. Maybe they just don't know. Maybe people don't know the different ways they can pay. Or maybe it's difficult for them to pay. Or maybe we have transportation that's not going to the places where people need to go. Obviously, it's a very complicated issue. But by doing observations, we can start to learn. Maybe it's an information problem. Maybe it means that we need some kind of tool, some kind of written or communication tool that will help these people to know when and where transportation is available for them. Maybe it's a communication to municipalities. And what kind of communication will tell them more about what people need. Or maybe it's for potential funders to tell them, this is a good thing. You should give more because public transportation is helping us all. Because it's reducing emissions, or for other arguments of why public transportation matters. So by going there, you can learn more about all of these different parts and spending the time in context. But you can also start to find what are the things you need to make that is going to make some kind of impact when it's a problem like this. By getting people's stories, by observing them, and by spending time in the context, you'll start to learn what are the things you need to make a difference.